Hello, ANW family. My name is Aerie, and I'm the shepherd of Bangkok House Church. I currently serve in the first and second service praise team and the interpretation team. Today, I'll be sharing some things I've been learning from God, especially as I started shepherding. As I started shepherding, I quickly realized that there are some things I simply cannot do for my members. I cannot change their hearts, make decisions for them, or force someone to grow their relationship with God. But something I could do was bring them before God in prayer. Being taught this in church, at the lay leader seminar, hearing many other church members' testimonies, and even experiencing the power of prayer in my own life, I naturally continued to pray, knowing I didn't need to be convinced that I should pray. One of the things I often think about in regards to prayer is my responsibility entrusted to me as a shepherd to uplift these prayers to God on behalf of my members, which I feel is so special and precious to me. So I knew I needed to pray for my members, their salvation, their faith, struggles, and their lives. And I genuinely wanted to be someone who prayed faithfully for the house church. But recently, as I was preparing to interpret for a sermon for one of our Wednesday night prayer services, I felt that God was already preparing my heart even before the sermon was preached. As I meditated on the message during the preparation, I received so much grace, and it really stirred my heart in asking myself, what am I actually looking for when I pray? Am I looking for answers from God, or am I looking for God Himself? And through this, I reflected and examined my heart, this heart that was so focused on uplifting all these prayer requests for myself, my members, certain situations and circumstances to change, which isn't necessarily wrong, but it was missing the whole purpose of prayer. God showed me that there is a difference between praying because of the outcomes that I am hoping for and praying because I love God and being in His presence. Through this, I've learned and I'm continuing to learn to seek God Himself and His heart first before anything else. And because I am weak, I can do nothing but seek God for strength, wisdom, and guidance. But ultimately, I am someone who needs God Himself first. Shepherding has brought me to the end of my own ability, where I had no choice but to return to the shepherd himself. At first, I think it's natural for a new shepherd to think a lot about managing the house church and the members, especially making sure everything is organized each week and that all the members attend. And I remember telling some people that being a shepherd was something new to me because of everything that I had to manage each week. But as we continued having house church meetings each week, God gradually taught me that shepherding is far more than just managing people. These are God's precious souls entrusted to me to love. This became even more real to me when I noticed that I wanted my members to change and spiritually grow quickly. There were other times where I felt frustrated when things didn't feel organized or structured, when I became slightly annoyed by small things that I disliked, or when I became judgmental because people didn't react the way I wanted them to, or the right way I thought they should react. But God revealed to me that these things were only just surface level things, and that many of my frustrations came from my own expectations and standards. I wanted people to respond in a certain way, grow at a certain pace, attend consistently, or understand things the way I understood them. But God reminded me that He doesn't love people because they are easy to lead, organized, or spiritually mature. He loves them because they are His. And behind all these behaviors were people with their own struggles, backgrounds, wounds, worries, and different stages of faith. God reminded me not to simply manage my members and their behaviors, but to actually love the people underneath those behaviors. And so I'm thankful because whenever I found myself wrestling with these thoughts and feelings, God continually reminded me of why I was called to love, because God is love. And through this, I learned that shepherding is not about control. It's about being faithful in loving souls, being patient with them, and walking alongside them towards Christ. There are many other lessons that God has taught me, what my weaknesses are, learning to let go of trying to build the perfect house church and praying differently for different people, but ultimately about my responsibility to remain faithful and entrust the results which belong to God. When I thought about learning to shepherd others, at the same time, God was working to shepherd me and my own heart, to be patient, to understand God's heart, to be thankful and acknowledge God in everything, and to be faithful in seeking God in prayer. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.